Hello, welcome to our presentation on Value Co-Creation for ISSIP and ISSIP's members. This is a service innovation project which came out of a pilot program on service innovation that was developed between HULT International Business School and IBM. There were a select group of students chosen to be a part of that pilot program, and from that group of students, this particular team was chosen to work with ISSIP. The team was Juliana Maciel, Vanessa Romero, and myself, Guy Larkin. I'm not going to spend any time talking about our backgrounds. Suffice to say, we're all MBA students, and since the completion of the project, have completed our MBAs and are now professionals in the industry. So here is what we're going to talk about. I'm going to go through the history and background of the project, talk a little bit about value co-creation, and then I'm going to hand it over to Vanessa, who's going to talk more about the co-creation and the purpose of that co-creation, why we have chosen this particular recommendation, and the results we expect to see, as well as the co-elevation between ISSIP, its members, and organizations. So the history, as I said, is part of this pilot program. This particular team of students were chosen to work with ISSIP, and the original scope was an investigation of best practices of gamification as it related to an assessment of T-shapedness. So we were looking at ISSIP's objectives and this T-shaped assessment, which is actually in development right now for ISSIP. The goal for that is for the ISSIP's members to use that tool as an ongoing method of professional development, and it will yield engagement as well for ISSIP's members and prospective members. As we investigated gamification and the T-shaped assessment, we ran into some limitations on the project. Gamification best practice calls for extremely clear objectives and a full assessment of the attention of gamification as it relates to the particular thing that you are gamifying. Now, what gamification can really do is increase engagement and enlistment for the target audience. But with the actual tool still in development, our recommendations were becoming very abstract and high level. There was also another project being done by another student for ISSIP on gamification. We felt that there was some redundancy between the recommendations, so we were determined to provide some value that wasn't already being provided. So we were looking at the broader goals of gamification, ISSIP's larger goals and strategy. So working with ISSIP's executive director, Yassi Mogadam, we came up with a different proposal, and here is what that looks like. So looking at engagement, acquisition of new members, and enlistment, there are clearly some constraints that ISSIP has as a volunteer organization, especially in terms of resourcing. And so how can ISSIP deliver on its promised value to its members with the resources that are available? And how can we devise, at a proposal level, some way to address these key interlocking goals? So what we came up with was ISSIP as a bridge, as a foundation of an ecosystem between students, prospective members, and ISSIP's organizational members, for instance, IBM, Cisco, and HP. So what that looks like is ISSIP, as we said, being the center of an ecosystem, partnering with universities and organizational members to expand membership both at the individual level and the organizational level, to broaden the adoption of T-shapedness through this assessment tool, and broaden the adoption of T-shapedness as a concept at the organizational level, as well as engaging members and ISSIP becoming a reference for members and member organizations. So I'm now going to hand it over to Vanessa, who's going to talk about the approach that we came up with.
Thank you, Guy. So, as Guy was talking in the previous slide, we want to build a new approach to interviews and skills. The whole aim of this is having a better match between professionals and organizations. How does this work and how would it envision this? First, ISSIP have to start getting organizations involved. We have already this stepping stone going on between IBM, Cisco, HP, and other companies. The second step will be co-create. We're going to co-create a new approach to interviews and mentorship. How it's going to be this co-creation? We have students, universities, professionals, and organizations with everybody aligned in the whole new approach and idea of how we interact between students and organizations. We can have this new approach on T-shapes. How we co-elevate. As Guy spoke before, ISSIP is developing a T-shaped assessment, which will help students and individual professionals to evaluate themselves on their T-shapedness and accurately point out where are the weaknesses and strengths they have and how to improve and achieve new professional goals. Finally, to co-evolve. The whole aim of this process is to achieve a new way to have a better match between job careers, organizations, and professionals and students. We are going to talk a little bit more about in the following slides how we see all this process. So first, for the students being part of the co-elevation, what do they get? They get the opportunity to get internships and shadowing programs with ISSIP organizational members, all through a mentorship program led by ISSIP. How does this work? ISSIP will get a profile on T-shape for the students so they can be mentored through the shadow professional program in a company in an area that they are needed for their volunteer capabilities, according to their depth and breadth on the T-shape assessment. The whole idea is to optimize the co-creation experience. What is the benefit for the students? They get the opportunity to get a real job experience on a real routine job with an accurate perception of what is expected for them and their outcomes as professionals, and also to match their cultural fit with the company. As a result, the students will receive feedback from the company's professionals, assessing their strengths and weaknesses with a T-shaped approach. How is ISSIP being part of this co-elevation? We have already talked about ISSIP being part of the mentor program and the basis of this ecosystem. But they're also going to increase their membership and engage their new members through the universities and companies by assessing the students and employees with the T-shapedness tool. How does it work? ISSIP will interact with HR departments within the companies and will provide an accurate way to match students with the right opportunities within the company. The program will be a certainty to the companies and add value to the students in their professional progress. The benefit for ISSIP will be to become a reference for students and professionals to find either the right career job or path and a way to develop their T-shape to achieve personal and career goals. Companies will rely on ISSIP to have the most efficient employees and a perfect match. As a result, the experience will allow ISSIP to gather more data to develop more tools of engagement and research and service innovation and co-creation to make the T-shaped assessment more robust. Finally, our third actor in this Envision program are the companies, how they are being part of the co-elevation. The companies, they're going to give available internships and shadow projects and, if possible, job opportunities to ISSIP in order to better match its T-shaped requirements with their students and volunteers. So how does this work? Instead of having interviews, companies are going to have the opportunity to get to know the students or volunteers better during the shadowing program or the mentorship program with ISSIP. This will allow them to have a real perception of how the student or the professional can co-create value with the organization in a specific task. The benefit for the company will be to rely more on ISSIP assessment of the student and professionals to find the most appropriate and capable candidate to fill a job opening, an internship program, or a shadowing program, as part of specific projects. And the company is going to get a better optimized HR process. It's going to be more accurate, and the whole idea for the company will be to avoid short-term contracts, layoff, and having unsatisfied employees quitting because they have a lack of interest in communication or a lack of cultural fit. The company can expect to reach a more efficient results due to a match of T-shapedness between professionals, students, and the organization. We hope that you also share our vision of service thinking and service innovation in the future of doing business and how we match career prospects, not only for the organization, but for an individual professional. We want to thank you for your time. Guy, Vanessa, myself, and Juliana, who unfortunately couldn't join us for this recording, but was a key member of this project. And we hope we can hear from you in the future and we can develop more on service thinking. Thank you.